what I want you to understand about socializing sober or doing anything sober is that you care more about your drinking than anybody else. That's why we have to be sober, because we obsess about it, can't get it out of our minds. All we want to do is drink all the time. Most people are not like that. They don't need alcohol to do things. That's what we are like. We need it. And it's not so much that you can't imagine going anywhere sober. You think you're never going to fit in. It's that you go somewhere and you feel uncomfortable and you don't know how to tolerate that feeling until it goes away. We're used to instant gratification. So you have to learn how to be patient. And it's really just that first hour of feeling uncomfortable, and then it's easy. But a lot of us, we drink to get through that uncomfortable stage, or we go places we don't even want to go. So then we drink to make it tolerable, or we hang out with people we don't even really like that much, and we drink to make it tolerable. So I would ask yourself what you are trying to do. I got a question. Someone was asking me, my friends want to go out and I don't feel that confident. I feel like I might drink and I kind of don't want to go. So what should I do? And the answer is don't go. If you don't want to go, don't go. I think we forget how to say no to things when we're newly sober. We think that we have to do everything everybody wants us to do, and that's it. So you have the power to say no. Another question that I got that I thought was interesting is, what do you do when you show up at the party and they hand you a drink? Imagine for a second that you go to a party and they hand you some appetizer that you think is disgusting. What would you do? Would you take it and eat it? You'd probably just be like, oh, no, thank you. That's what you do when someone tries to hand you a drink and you don't want it. You just say, no, thank you. And that's it. Also, yeah, no one has ever handed me a drink at a party. So it's unlikely that that will happen. The other thing that we have to realize is we focus on every alcohol opportunity times 1,000. And most of these things will never even come into reality. The one that I focused on a lot was, how am I going to go to a wedding and not do the champagne toast with everybody? What actually happened when I went to my first sober wedding, most people didn't even do the champagne toast. They had the ability to drink the champagne. They weren't sober. They just didn't want to. So it was no big deal that I didn't do it. So try to remind yourself, if you get nervous about doing anything sober, that you care more about your drinking than anybody else in the entire world. I would also recommend having some kind of plan for what you're going to say if people ask, why aren't you drinking? And keep it short. Like, challenge yourself to keep this statement as short as you possibly can. It's tempting to make excuses like you're on antibiotics, or you have to drive, or, you're taking a break, or you're not feeling that good. But the more excuses that you make, the more you invite in solutions from other people. They'll solve that problem for you so that you can drink. If you're worried about driving, then they'll suggest you stay over. Or they'll say you can share an Uber or something. So do not make excuses, do not offer explanations, and also realize, it's nobody's business. A no is enough. You don't have to explain your no. You just say no. A lot of the questions I got were about, how do I fit in? I'm worried about being rejected. I have never been rejected for not drinking. And if somebody is rejecting you and they don't want to be your friend anymore, that just kind of says, they're on our team. They're really obsessed with alcohol, just like us. And you probably make them uncomfortable. I don't think anyone is ever going to judge you or kick you out of their group. That's actually a healthy, nice friend. They'll accept you as you are. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about too that comes up a lot is not getting invited to stuff anymore, because that does actually happen. And that happened to me a lot, actually. And this was not so much because people were rejecting me because I didn't drink. It was more because they thought they were doing me a favor. They knew that I had recently quit and they didn't want to make me uncomfortable, so they thought that the best solution was just to not invite me. So I would challenge your assumptions. This is something that we actually work on a lot in anger management, is challenging these assumptions and eventually learning not to make any assumptions at all, but challenge what you assume about what's going on. And when you're freaking out that everyone's going to reject you at the social thing, or everybody's going to ask, everyone's going to notice, challenge these assumptions. How do you deal with the anxiety? So, if you mean social anxiety, I would say take baby steps. So, don't challenge yourself to go to all of these parties all at once. Go to smaller things that you're comfortable with. Hang out with your friends one on one. Go to brunch. Go on a walk. Do things that don't have to involve going to a bar, and get comfortable. I think the more experiences that we have and the more comfortable we get, the easier it becomes. And like I said, that first hour is always the hardest. And we lose the ability to listen to our inner voice when we're drinking all the time, because we're not looking to go to all these parties and have all this fun. We're just looking for opportunities to drink. And when you get sober, you start to have these feelings like, oh, I don't want to go to this thing, or I feel uncomfortable. Those are actual like good feelings and instincts that you should listen to. So if you don't want to go out and party all the time anymore, like that's okay. You don't have to do it. It doesn't mean that you're boring or that now your life is bad. It just means now you understand yourself a little bit more. Ask yourself really, like, why are you going to these things? Are you going to the wedding for the actual wedding because you're happy for the couple? Or are you going for the open bar? Are you going on vacation to actually like try new activities and connect with your partner? Or are you going for the drink package so you can sit around and drink all day? If you're used to doing the second version, then you have to learn how to have fun, and you have to learn how to socialize, and you have to learn how to get comfortable. We get so used to all these quick fixes that we don't know how to be patient anymore. And you will learn how to get comfortable around people if you give yourself a chance. So that would be my message to you, is anytime you have an assumption that people are going to judge you, they're going to reject you, you're going to get all these questions, challenge that assumption and know we think it's always going to be way worse than it actually is. I have never gone to something and it's worse than I expected it to be. I always come home and I'm like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. So that's probably going to be your situation too.